Mutual presents to the nation from Hollywood, California, a program in celebration of the first anniversary of the Hollywood Canteen. Now, may I introduce Miss Bette Davis, president of the Hollywood Canteen. Miss Davis.
Welcome to our canteen. Today is our birthday, and I extend a cordial invitation to all of you listening in to celebrate our first anniversary with us by joining our audience of men of the armed forces who are here in the canteen this afternoon. We are proud to have as our guest of honor Leopold Stokowski, who will conduct Mr. Forster's Symphony Orchestra. This orchestra has given a symphony concert at the canteen every Sunday afternoon for the past year. We are greatly indebted to each and every one of the men. But before Mr. Stokowski begins, one of the most devoted workers of the canteen is with us today as our master of ceremonies, that great baritone, John Charles Thomas.
Thank you, Miss Davis, and good afternoon, fellas. Really, this is quite a record for me. I just left my own broadcast, and here I am again. I want to tell you that I feel greatly honored to be chosen as the master of ceremonies on this day, the first anniversary of the Hollywood Canteen. And without further ado, we shall get on with the program. Every Sunday afternoon here in the canteen, the men of the armed forces gather to hear their favorite works of their favorite masters. And they have done so ever since the canteen opened. This was made possible by a brilliant young musician conductor who saw the great need for symphonic music for our fighting men, and today, two of his dreams are to be realized. Number one, the first broadcast of the Hollywood Canteen Symphony Orchestra. Number two, he has as his guest conductor Leopold Stokowski. Dear friends, David Foster conducts his Hollywood Canteen Symphony Orchestra in the first of today's concert. The introduction to the third act of Lohengrin by Richard Wagner. Dave Foster, I think you should have the honor of introducing our honored guest.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for the afternoon, Mr. Leopold Stokowski. Mr. Stokowski, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have you here as a guest conductor of the Hollywood Canteen Symphony Orchestra.
Mr. Foster, I'm just as thrilled to be playing for all you soldiers and sailors and to be conducting this wonderful orchestra that you have created.
Thank you, sir. Coming from you, that is the finest compliment that I have ever had. And now will you take the podium? At this time, Mr. Leopold Stokowski performs his own orchestration of Claude Debussy's Moonlight.
Betty Davis again.
A year ago in October, the Hollywood Canteen opened its doors for the first time. Since then, there have been over 1 million men of the armed forces in our canteen. On this day of our anniversary, first of all, I want to pay tribute to the tireless workers who have kept the canteen going. Night after night, these men and women have worked side by side in their given duties. Not just personalities of the music world, motion picture world, and radio world, but also the people who work behind the scenes in these worlds. Carpenters, electricians, stagehands, cartoonists, painters, secretaries, far too many to be able to mention them all in the time allotted me. However, knowing them as I do, they have not done this work for glory or for credit. They sincerely feel that all glory connected with the war effort goes to our fighting men. They also are well aware that canteens such as ours, of which there are many in our country, our foster mother being the American Theater Wing, cannot alone win the war. But we do hope that these canteens are proving to be temporary headquarters for our men while they're in strange cities. Here in the canteen, we're very proud of the letters that many of the men who have been our guests here have sent us from the fighting front. They tell us that often in their bleaker moments, memories of friendship they have found here mean much to them. And what greater reward could our workers desire? Speaking on behalf of the board of directors of the canteen, our congratulations to all of you for a good job done. To all of you men in the service who it has been our privilege to entertain, the canteen's thanks for your appreciation and your courtesy as guests. You've made our job an easier one with this appreciation and courtesy. We're starting on our second year full of enthusiasm, and with high hopes you will continue to enjoy your visits here. We want you to know, however, that we feel the most we can do is so very minute in comparison with what you are doing. It is our prayer here at the canteen, as it is the prayer of people all over the world today, as we approach the Christmas season, that by another year, peace on earth, goodwill toward men, will be an actuality, and that with joy in our voices we can once again rightfully say, Merry Christmas. And now, John Charles Thomas, who will sing for us the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. That was wonderful. I'm sure every soldier here and every sailor enjoyed listening to that just as much as we did in the orchestra. And so in return, let's all sing to Mr. Thomas a great old American folk melody, Old Kentucky Home. We'll all sing it to him.
That's a good idea, Maestro. All right, fellas, what do you say to a verse of that old favorite, you all know it, Herman Hand's arrangement of My Old Kentucky Home? There they go. That's really wonderful. Well, now that you have performed for Maestro Stokowski, we shall bring him back to the podium to perform the closing composition in this afternoon's Sunday concert. But first, while we are honoring the loyal workers of the Canteen, I wish to extend another honor, and it is to the musicians. I personally wish to thank every musician, every great orchestra leader, and the Musicians Union of Los Angeles for their great part in helping to build the Canteen and seeing to it that our fighting men have had every form of music from the greatest of the masters' classics to boogie-woogie. Their motto has been and will still continue to be music and plenty of it for our fighting men. Now, Maestro Stokowski conducts the Hollywood Canteen Symphony Orchestra in the closing composition of today's concert, The Entrance of the Gods into Valhalla, from the Wagnerian opera, Rheingold.
behalf of the Hollywood Canteen, may I tell you, Mr. Tchaikovsky, how privileged we have been to have you present as our honored guest today in celebration of our first birthday. Mr. Thomas, I would like to express the Canteen's deep gratitude to you for your beautiful singing of the Lord's Prayer and for acting as our master of ceremonies. The Canteen's thanks to Robert Bice, our producer, and last but very far from least, David Forrester. We thank you and the men of your Hollywood Canteen Symphony Orchestra for your music today. And before I say good afternoon, remember, men of our armed forces, when you are out this way, you have a standing invitation to visit the Hollywood Canteen. Good afternoon to you all.
This first anniversary broadcast from the Hollywood Canteen originated through the facilities of Don Lee. This is Mutual.
KHJ, Los Angeles.